Good morning. I'm going to start by reading you our story for the week. It is called Kumac's Fish. Kumac's Fish. Okay, and the genre of this is a tall tale. This story uses exaggeration, okay? So we're going to see how they use exaggeration in the story. And it's also talking about what we need to think about is how can we achieve our goals, okay? On a beautiful Arctic morning, Kumac looked out the window of his house. Through the willows, he could see the sun rising over the frozen river. "Ah, spring," said Kumac to his family. "The days are long, the nights are short, and the ice is still hard. Good day for fish." "Good day for fish," said Kumac's wife, pulling on her warm parka. "Good day for fish," said the wife's mother, pulling on her warm mukluks. "Good day for fish," said his sons and daughters, pulling on their warm beaver hats and fur-lined gloves. Okay, we just talked on those 2 pages about 2 of our vocabulary words. One of them is willows, and we know that a willow is a type of tree with long, narrow branches. And a parka, it said that Kumac's wife put on her warm parka. A parka is a warm, heavy jacket with a hood. Kumac packed his fishing gear on his sled. He packed his wife on the sled. He packed his wife's mother on the sled. He packed his sons and daughters on the sled. And then, in the safest place of all, Kumac packed his Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick. Everyone in the village knew of Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick. Uncle Aglo had carved it many years ago out of a piece of fine willow, and each spring he caught more fish than anyone in the village. But this spring, Uncle Aglo's legs were stiff. He told Kumac to use the amazing hooking stick. This was Kumac's lucky day. Okay, so on that page we talked about, they use the word willow again. We know that that's the type of tree with long, thin, narrow branches. And gear is equipment needed for an activity. So the equipment they needed here today was fishing equipment. When they reached the great frozen lake past the mouth of the river, Kumac's family dug their fishing holes and sat down to wait. Kumac and his family sat for a long time. They were quiet. They were patient. They scooped away the ice growing around their fishing holes. Okay, so they fish differently than if we were to go fishing here. They're having to fish through ice, so that's why they're having to make holes and fish through the holes. Just as the sun was starting to turn down for the day, Kumac's oldest son caught a fish. Then Kumac's 2 daughters even caught a fish. Soon his wife's mother even caught a fish. "Good day for fish," they said. Kumac was quiet. He was patient. He scooped away the ice growing around his fishing hole. Suddenly, Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick began to twitch. It twitched this way. It twitched that way. It went around and around. It gave one more twitch, then yanked Kumac toward the fishing hole. "What a big fish," said Kumac's wife. "The biggest I can remember," said his wife's mother. "The biggest fish ever," said his sons and daughters. Okay, so one of the vocabulary words on those pages I just read was twitch. Okay, twitch means make small, jerky movements. Okay, so the stick was making jerky movements back and forth. Okay, then it said it yanked Kumac towards the hole. Yanked means pulled with sudden movement. They danced with joy, thinking about the happy faces of the villagers when they brought the fish home. Then Kumac began to twitch. He twitched this way, he twitched that way. He went around and around. Kumac gave one more twitch and slid head first toward the fishing hole and the icy water below. "Wife, help me pull this fish." Kumac's wife grabbed him around the waist, and together they took 2 steps back. "That fish must be as big as a seal," yelled Kumac happily. "Anna, help me pull this fish." His wife's mother ran to help. She took hold of Kumac's wife, and together they took 3 steps back. "That fish must be as big as a walrus," yelled Kumac happily. "Children, help me pull this fish." His sons and daughters ran to help. They lined up, one behind the other, and never let go. Together they took 6 more steps, but the stick pulled them all the way back to the edge of the hole. "That fish must be as big as a whale," yelled Kumac happily. Villagers on their way home heard Kumac's shouts and ran to help. They lined up behind Kumac's family and holding on tight to the person in front of them. They pulled and pulled, but no matter how many steps they took away from the hole, they always ended up back where they started. Soon the whole village heard about Kumac's fish and came to help. In one long line stretching across the frozen lake, they pulled and pulled and pulled. Once again, Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick began to twitch. It twitched this way, and all of the people of the village twitched this way. It twitched that way, and all of the people of the village twitched that way. It went around and around, and all the people of the village went around and around. Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick gave one more enormous twitch and pulled Kumac down the fishing hole into the icy water below. Kumac's family and the villagers didn't give up. Each person held on tight to the person in front of them and never let go. All together, they gave one more mighty pull and whoosh! Kumac came flying back out of the fishing hole. Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick came flying out with him. Stretching out in one long line all around Kumac and the fishing hole were hundreds of fish. Each fish held on tight to one in front of it and never let go. Kumac had landed enough fish for the entire village to have a splendid feast. Remember, splendid means great, wonderful, excellent. "Hooray for Kumac!" cheered the villagers as they picked up the fish. "Hooray for Uncle Aglo's amazing hooking stick," said Kumac as they started home. It was a good day for fish. Okay, so by exaggeration, they mean that it probably didn't take everybody in the whole village to come out and help him catch the fish. And all of those fish can't really hold on to one another like that and him catch hundreds of fish at once. Okay, so exaggeration, that's what they meant by that. Okay, we also talked about how can we achieve goals. Well, Kumac and the people in his village achieved their goal of catching fish by working together. Okay, all of the village came together and worked together to help him catch the fish. Okay, we will continue reading and talk more about this story on our call. In your reading workbook packet that looks like this, that we've been working in this whole time, I want you to flip, it's almost at the very back, the second to last page, and find page 69. 69, it says vocabulary reference sources. I have it up here on the board. Okay, it's workbook 69 in your gray reading workbook. Okay, this says you can use a glossary or dictionary to find the meaning of unknown words. We talked about that earlier in the week. A glossary is found in the back of a book. A dictionary is a separate book that have words listed. Okay, entries in glossaries and dictionaries are in alphabetical order. When two words have the same first and second letter, alphabetized by the third letter. And that's what we're going to practice doing, okay? And this just shows a little bit of what a dictionary or glossary entry would look like. You've got the word, part of speech, and the definitions, okay? So this says put the words in alphabetical order. Use the glossary examples above to help you. Then answer the questions. Okay, so we have, and I'm going to scroll the screen up just a little bit so we can see. You have this on your paper. Okay, so on put wonder, wake, waste, walrus, and wade in alphabetical order. Okay, this just said they all begin with W-A, so we've got to look at the third letter. So I have an N, a K, an I, a D, and an L. So I'm going to think about those letters, okay? D would be the first one in alphabetical order. So Wade is going to be my first word. Okay, now I've got N, K, I, L. Okay, I would come next, so my next word would be waste. Okay, K would come next, so wake. I'm looking at the third letter. Then L, K, L. Walrus would come next. And then wonder with an N as the third letter. Okay? So, we just did those. We are going to, you're going to look at the rest of the words. They all begin with W-A, but you're going to look at the V, the T, the X, the R, and the S to put those 5 words in alphabetical order. Okay, so before our call, you're going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, okay? So after you do 6 through 10, you should be able to answer 11 and 12, and we're going to talk about this together soon. On the back of the page you just finished, putting those words in alphabetical order, I want you to flip over and find the back page. It's page 70, and it says glossary at the top. Glossary, page 70, okay? We are going to talk about this together, okay? I want you to look at those top 2 dots at the top and follow along as I read. Sometimes you come across a word you don't know. You can use a glossary to find the meaning of the unfamiliar word. A glossary has the meanings of important words in a book. It is usually found at the back of a book. The words are listed in alphabetical order. Okay, so let's look at this. We have, this is just a little torn out thing from a glossary, okay? So we've got the top 2 words that are always on the top 2 pages are called guide words, okay? Guide words let you know the first and the last word on that page, okay? So look, this is our reading textbook, okay? I'm going to flip to the back and just show you what I'm talking about with guide words. Okay, so this page, the guide words are splendid and survivor. Splendid is the first word on that page. Survivor is the last word on the page. So in alphabetical order, if a word would be between splendid and survivor, it would be on this page. Okay, same thing with over here. This page, the guide words are proof and snuggle. Proof is the first word. Snuggle is the last word. So you wouldn't find a word that begins with A through P because the words aren't on this page alphabetically. So that is what they mean by guide words, okay? So let's look at this. We've got guide words, and then we have a few words listed, the part of speech, and then the definition, okay? I'm going to scroll the screen up a little bit, but you have this exact page in front of you that you're doing as we're watching this. Okay, so let's look at number 1. What are the guide words on the page? Well, we just talked about that. The guide words on this page would be spell and yanked. Okay, so all you got to do is write that for number 1. Spell, yanked. And see, we can't see yanked, but they kind of like torn out the page, so we don't know what's missing, okay? Look at number 2. Would the word space be on this page? How do you know? Well, okay, the first word on my page is spell. So let's look at space. S-P-A-C-E. My first word on this page is spell. They both begin with S-P, but I have an A and an E. If this E is my first word on the page, then space would come before it in the dictionary, okay? So, would the word space be on this page? No, because it comes before the word spell. Okay, that's just in alphabetical order. It would come before the word spell, so it would not be on the page. It would be on the page before it. Okay? Look at number 3. The abbreviation N stands for noun. Which words shown are nouns? Okay, so this has a V, so spell is a verb. Splendid has ADJ, that's adjective. Twitch has V for verb. Vision has an N for noun, and willow has an N for noun. Okay, so the two words that are noun are vision and willow. Okay, number 4. Where in a book is a glossary usually found? We just talked about it, and I showed you in our reading textbook. It is usually found in the back. It is found in the back of a book. Remember, glossaries are in the back. Dictionaries are whole separate books. Okay, number 5. Do you think this section of the glossary is at the beginning of the glossary or near the end? Why? Well, let's think about our alphabet. It starts with A, okay? You can just say the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So think about where these words and the first letters are in the alphabet. Are they near the beginning, A, B, C, D, or at the end, X, Y, Z? Well, this has a Y word, so that tells me that if it's near the end of an alphabet, it would be near the end of the glossary. Okay, so do you think this section of the glossary is at the beginning of the glossary or near the end? Okay, it would be near the end. Because the words begin with letters that are near, well, that are at the end of the alphabet. Okay, that's how we know that. So if I were going to look up a word like zoo in a glossary, I wouldn't start looking at the beginning of the glossary on pages or on the words that have pages that have words like with A, B, C, D beginning. Okay, that's all that's asking. Okay, number 6, write the meaning of the word vision. Well, here is vision. The meaning of vision is the power of using the imagination to see what the future might bring. So you're going to write that on line 6, the definition. The power of using the imagination to see what the future might bring. Okay, so we have done that together. Make sure that you catch up. Pause it if you need to. We're going to talk more about alphabetical order and glossaries and dictionaries on our call. Okay, this week in grammar, we're talking about statements and questions. Okay, statements just tell us something. okay? Like the sky is blue. I'm just telling you what color the sky is, okay? But questions are asking something like, what is the weather today? I'm asking you what the weather's going to do today, okay? So I've written 4 sentences on the board, okay? The first sentence says, Mitchell is the best school. Let's think about that, okay? Am I asking anybody anything? No. So that is just making a statement, okay? So that is a statement, okay? My next sentence, what is your favorite subject? I'm saying what, and it's ending with a question mark, so that is a question. Okay, if the sentence has something that you can reply to it, it's a question. Okay, look at the next one. I have a son and a daughter. I'm just telling you something about me. I'm making a statement. Okay, look at the last one. Do you have any brothers or sisters? I'm asking you a question about yourself. It has a question mark, and it has a question word like do, what. Okay, so that is a question. Okay, for a review, let's think about what all sentences have to have at the beginning. All sentences begin with capital letters. They all have to have an end mark, okay? Statements end with periods. Questions end with question marks, okay? So, before our call at 9 o'clock, I want each one of you on a sheet of paper to come up with 2 sentences, okay? I want you to write 1 statement and 1 question to share with the class before our call at 9. So 2 sentences, okay? I have written some. You come up with your own. Give me a statement and a question before our 9 o'clock call. We will talk soon.